Jeffrey got promised this great future by our government. Yeah, if you just take a loan, you can go to college and you'll be able to get a high-paying job. Jeffrey enjoys his time in college. He spends his money like a rich person. Because it's free money, right? 5 years later, he is $100,000 in debt and depressed as hell because he doesn't make enough money to pay off his loan. Adonis is not a fool. He knows a scam when he sees one. He prays people like Jeffrey will survive in the real world. So when I first got to college, I was able to get a student loan. And I remember first getting this money and I was like at 18 at the time or 17. And I was like, wow, this is just some free money, right? I have to pay it back in like 30 years or somewhat. But this is at the moment, this is free money. So I was spending this money like crazy. I went to parties, I went to buy alcohol, went to buy a lot of unnecessary stuff because I had this free money. And I remember a lot of my friends did the exact same thing. But a few years passed and I eventually like started to realize this and I didn't use that money anymore. But few of my friends still were partying like this. They were taking the maximum amount of loans. They were taking like €1,000 each month just because they could, right? And I remember talking with this friend one time about his student loan, and he told me he was like $60,000 in debt in 4 years time, and that's a lot. And I know there are people with way higher loans than that, but €60,000 just because he had the urge to party. So this story about my friend partying all day and night, just enjoying a student loan, is just some random story. And I would actually say that most of these college enjoyers, your average college enjoyers, are like this. They spend their student loan like fucking crazy. And therefore, you know, colleges are a breeding ground for degenerates because they basically teach kids that have unlimited money, right? Unlimited free money, a student loan, to live a certain lifestyle, to live as a fucking degenerate, like spending money like crazy, you know, going to all the parties, getting the girls, living like fucking goomers. So they teach people to be like that. And I would say college overall is a huge breeding ground for degenerates, because if you actually walk on college, the average person you see there is like a fucking coomer. The average, like 99% of people who go to college like party regularly and drink at least one time a day, you know. So here is when the indoctrination starts. So the indoctrination of you have unlimited money, you can just borrow some money if you need to party, if you need to enjoy your life, just borrow some money, right? And the indoctrination of, you know, the whole societal level. So, but I'm still young, right? Might be a argument. That was what one of the main arguments one of my friends had. I was telling him that he should quit living like a fucking moron, like a degenerate, like spending his money like crazy. He should stop that shit. He should just like quit his loan and just find a job, right? Instead of just enjoying his loan. But he gave me this argument, but I'm still young. So when I'm like 30, I will stop doing that because then I will take my life serious. But when I'm still young, I will basically enjoy this money and spend like crazy. Like I can always pay it back later. Like fucking degenerate mindset. I'm still young. Like when you are young, you should actually fucking work. You should actually work as hard as possible to set yourself up for a better future. You should start a business. Take life serious instead of like waste your life. When you're young, you still have the like brain power to actually work, to get something fucking done. But when you are 30 years old and for the first time in your life you finally decide to take life serious, you've already gotten used to this like degenerate way of living, right? You are already used to borrowing money, spending your money on the clubs, living like a fucking degenerate, and then all of a sudden after fucking 30 years you want to change your life and become a better person? Fuck off. You're not gonna change your life if after you spent 30 years doing nothing, right? You should take, if you are like 15, 16, 17 years old, I'm 25 at the moment, you should fucking go in, die hard, and do everything you can in your power to set yourself up, your 30-year-old self, for a better future. So And I would say like most students take a student loan, and not because it's necessary. Well, they think it's necessary, but it's actually not. Just because they can. It's like free money, and they think, well, if I can just use this money to do a bit of partying now, and when I'm 30, I will take my life serious. Like a fucking degenerate groomer, like somebody who's seeking instant gratification now. Oh, I will see the consequences of that later. I will just groom a bit now, and I will see the consequences later, right? Or there are no consequences. I'm just enjoying my life. So most people take a student loan, but you don't have to take a student loan. I know in certain countries you really have to, because I know there are certain colleges in the US where your average tuition fee each year, so your average fee to go to college, is like 30,000 each year, and that's fucking disgusting. Fucking disgusting. There's no reason for a college to be that expensive. Like in Holland, it's like $2,500 each year, so we cannot really complain, but it's still a lot of money. And so even with $2,500, some people really say, yeah, I need to take a student loan because otherwise I won't be able to pay for all that. That's fucking bullshit. Just fucking find a job. I never really took a student loan just because I couldn't survive. I actually took a student loan, and this might be a bit of a degenerate way of taking a student loan, but so I took a student loan to invest that money into stocks and Bitcoin, just because I could pay it back in 30 years, and I was like 0% interest, let's fucking go, because we didn't have to pay any interest on our loans. I know in some countries you have to, but I took advantage of that. I don't know if it was the best decision. We will see in 30 years. I will keep you up to date, right? So, you know, what to do with this money? What do I mean by that? So all these guys, they take this loan. They take this $1,000 each month. At least it's in Holland, $1,000 each month, right? I don't know, maybe it's different in your country, but so they basically adapt to this new lifestyle. They get this free money and they automatically adapt to this new lifestyle. If you have the available money, you will automatically, it's highly likely that you will adapt to this new lifestyle. You will buy more expensive groceries, you will go for a new phone, you will go for a new TV. But if you didn't have the money, you wouldn't buy that shit, right? You wouldn't really take a loan to buy that shit. But you have the money, so you spend it. They all think they'll be able to pay back. They all think this, oh yeah, I will just enjoy myself, get into like a $100,000 debt, and then I will pay back whenever I work. And I will explain like why this is such a degenerate way of thinking. This is not a reliable way of thinking. So why college is really a scam? It's quite hard to actually pay off this $100,000 loan. It's actually quite hard because you have to remember like $100,000. So after you graduate college, you are likely to make around $2,500, after college. And that's not even after taxes, because you have to remember like taxes take around 50% of that whole thing. So you are left with $1,250 or $1,500. So you are left with a very small part of money. And let's say you are left with $1,500 real dollars, right? You want a house, of course. You have to live. You have to buy food. How much is that gonna cost you? My average cost here, and I live on my own, is $1,500 each month with food, with housing, and I have a cheap house and I have a cheap grocery bill. How in the hell, from what money are you gonna pay back that loan, that $100,000 loan? Like fucking degenerate. If you make, okay, maybe if you make like 100,000 each year, if you make 100,000 each year, you are left with 40,000, 50,000, and you're able to pay it back very, very gradually. But that is only if you're adapting to this, if you don't adapt to the lifestyle. Because most people, when they get more money, they adapt to a certain way of living. They earn more money, so they spend more money, and they don't save more money because they're fucking losers. But you have to, it's hard anyway to really pay this back. And that's only if you make like a $100,000 job each year. And for most of us, it's not really thinkable that we get a job like this. It's not really I am never gonna get into a job where I earn that kind of money, right? Maybe I will earn 50,000 if I go in a 9-to-5 job right now, and I will never be able to pay off that loan. And you have to remember, you want a house, right? You want food. Maybe you get a wife. Maybe you have some kids. Maybe you want a car. And these things all cost money. So it's very hard to get any money left from there to pay off your loan. So colleges, really, they know you will get a student loan because this is psychology, right? So what do? They increase the price. And that's why you see prices in America like $30,000 each year. There's no real reason why it's that high. There's never $30,000 worth of value in that. Never. They just increase the price because they know you will get a student loan. They just know it. And that's the whole system. That's like a profitable business scheme there. So even in Holland, right? Even with our $2,500 tuition fee each year, it's still a scam. It's still a way of getting people into debt because we still have people who are $100,000 in debt because the average student debt each year is around $15,000 here in Holland. So when you compound that over 4, 5, 6 years, it's still around 100,000, right? And it's still hard as fuck to pay it back. So this is a really profitable way of enslaving people because they won't be able to really pay off that loan. Therefore, they are like lifelong slaves of this loan. And they will enter the 9-to-5 and they won't really be able to pay off that loan. So this is just the start of basically enslaving people because you have to remember, this is not the only loan these people will take. They will get used to taking a loan because they took a student loan. So therefore, they also take a loan on their house, a loan on their car, maybe even a credit card loan that's like really high interest to pay off. So all these little loans compound over time, and all these little loans are like change to them. They are stuck by that change. They can't really do anything because they have to pay back all these loans. They are really stuck. So that's why it's basically modern day slavery. I can really tell you that it's modern day slavery. And you have these people with all these loans, they have to pay back some interest. So therefore they have to keep working. They have to keep working in a machine that's called the government. So that is really profitable, especially for like credit card companies. So that's why they give you like multiple credit cards. So yeah, some companies really make a business model out of debt. So, and if you don't have to get into student loans, if you really don't have to, if you are like me, don't take that student loan, just take an extra day of working. I worked at some point 3 days a week for a very long time and I made some good money. I don't know exactly, maybe I made I think $1,800 a month from just 3 ways of working, and I was quite happy with that. And I could actually, I didn't even have to take a student loan. Spartans, prepare for glory.